This is the Nerd Academy Podcast, episode 56.
The Nerd Academy Podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy Podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Podcast, the show where your favorite nerds bring you all the news and commentary in the world of geekdom. I screwed it up again because I got too distracted by trying to gesticulate with my Nerd Academy coffee mug. Joining me, as always, is your favorite Green Lantern resident, Professor Travis Grossman.
It's blue today because I'm hoping this goes well with little to no technical difficulties.
We can only hope, my friend, and, maybe it will, maybe it won't. In real time, I'm just going to fix my camera like so. There we go. Cool. There we go. Awesome. I look great now. We got some news for you guys today. We got a little bit of late breaking stuff, which was a little bit surprising on that front. But we are going to jump right into one of our bigger stories. Up top, one that I'm very excited about. Reportedly, a Batman the Animated Series sequel is in the works at Warner Brothers for HBO Max. So reading here, following the announcement on Friday, or not reading it, following the announcement the Batman the Animated Series has finally shifted from DC Universe onto HBO Max, it seems like the future of the classic cartoon could be very bright. Speaking on their latest episode of the Fat Man Beyond podcast, co-hosts Mark Bernard and Kevin Smith, hey, check out Number One Contender, brought the rumor to light with the former firmly labeling it as a rumor. The rumor is that HBO Max is looking to make a Batman the Animated Series sequel, that they want to continue that forward. Bernardin said as Smith covered what was very clearly a huge smile on his face. "I don't know what you're talking about," Smith said with a twinkle in his eye. "I'm not involved, but I too have heard this. I've heard this from very reliable people. When I heard it, I freaked out, and I heard this, I would say, about a month before you just said it. I think that's real. I don't think that's a rumor. I wouldn't say set your watch to it, but that's an idea whose time is not only coming. I think it came. I think it's a smoking cigarette, and I think it's going to happen." And this doesn't count as my F-bomb because I'm reading a quote from Kevin Smith. "How fucking amazing would it be? Because you can literally just pick up and keep going. It's not like, oh, we got to explain why everybody's older. It's fucking animation, man. You can go right back to those fucking stories." So yeah, Kevin Smith being Kevin Smith is always greatly appreciated. Hey, Kev, come on the show anytime you like to talk Schmodown. Yeah, Travis, thoughts on this?
I think it's a smart move. They, last week, 2 weeks ago, they made the big switch. So DC Universe technically doesn't exist anymore. It is DC Universe Infinite by having less content.
The DC Universe way. Your camera keeps cutting in and out, and I'm not even going to tell you to worry about it. But the best part is that you came in just in time to point at the camera and go, less content. So that's what matters.
Also, if you can hear them, please ignore all the cars outside my house. I'm a little worried because they wouldn't, be able to get everybody back necessarily. I'm sure Conroy would be on board, but Mark Hamill might not be ready to come back yet. Or maybe he is, I don't know.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's definitely the weird X factor here that I'm curious about, because he kind of says every time he plays Joker, it's the last time.
Well, he kept saying like he'd only come back if they did Killing Joke, and then he was in Killing Joke.
And we're not going to talk about Killing Joke.
No, but he also was in. Said he wasn't going to be in Arkham Knight, but I think that was just to hide the fact that he was in Arkham Knight. And also, they technically showed Killing Joke in Arkham Knight, so
Yeah, they did. They did certainly show it. Maybe that was all we needed to see. Maybe we didn't need the animated movie. You know what I think would be
I'd
really
agree with that.
You know what I think would be really interesting with all this is that right now, from what I understand, there's a run in the Batman animated series, like tie-in comics, that's happening at the moment, or maybe is recently wrapped up. I'm not sure. Your face is frozen on like a Mick effing excuse me face, and I love it. I am very curious to see if they try to adapt the story they're doing in those comics right now, where they attempt to explain Jason Todd.
And I mean, they could do that. We've seen a lot of DC cartoons that are meant for a younger audience getting darker as they move to streaming. Young Justice bumped up its rating with Young Justice Outsiders, and I can see them doing the same thing with the animated series.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either. There is like and I know we make fun of, Snyder and all of that for the whole, we're going to do the Justice League R-rated. But there is a time and a place for more mature comic book stories.
It's not even that it's like it needs to be dark and grim, just that like they can cover a darker story. Like the same reason that Arkham Knight got an M rating as opposed to the T that City and Asylum got. It told a darker narrative. It doesn't have to be thrown around F-bombs and be viewed in IMAX in black and white for the full effect.
Yeah, I agree. And when you get an opportunity, try killing your camera and bringing her back on.
Okay, that's right now. In fact, how's that? I feel like I have a droopy eye.
You look good in StreamYard.
I'm sorry.
I've noticed the past couple times we've done this that I feel
that's why I was getting mad about my looks on camera. That's why I said I wasn't going to be on today. I know it's recording still. Hello, but yeah.
Alexa's still on the other side of the room.
Yes.
I look like I had a droopy eye, and I was getting pissed off.
Maybe it's just the camera angle. Maybe it's not you. It's just the camera angle. Travis, move. Okay, so every time I go to... I don't know how this works, guys. Thank you so much for putting up with the calamities every time.
You're so patient.
They're so patient. Or they're just still listening to the audio version and just bypassing the
I haven't had to
bullshit.
deal with this yet.
Yeah. But hey, tune in for number one contender where nothing goes wrong.
That's not even a bit. That's just true.
Yeah, I had to knock on wood there real quick. But yeah, I know. I'd love to see this. I really want to see them try to bring Jason into the fold the way they have been in the animated series comics. I think that would be an interesting story to tell. He's kind of very noticeably not present. He's, kind of the Robin that got the short end of the stick, and then they kind of made Tim Jason-like in the New Adventures of Batman and Robin stuff. So I'm very open and excited to see where this goes. And again, hopefully Mr. Hamill is going to come around as well. And I see you grinning and I hear rumbling and I'm so afraid of what she's about to do.
So Alexis is using this time to read for, is it your biology class?
It's for for my human sexuality. So it's psychology of human sexuality.
I don't know if you can hear that.
Human psychology and sexuality is the course, if anybody couldn't hear it.
Yeah, and so the book just has
Psychology of human sexuality.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that. And the book just has numerous pictures that she's discovering of human genitalia.
Oh,
And
cool.
Trying not to be 12 years old about it.
But it's really hard not
I-
to be 12 years old about it.
I wasn't expecting it, and I opened the book, and there was just genitalia. And like detailed pictures of genitalia.
And she keeps just like rotating the book slowly at me.
I was gonna say before he said it's genitalia. Like let's see what you're laughing at. But we do plan on uploading this to YouTube. So
Yeah, no, there's no way I could show it to you.
No.
After the
It's
show.
educational, kids.
Yes, that's educational. It's like do you guys remember the Travis? You might remember this just because I know you also watch Philip DeFranco.
Why? Just two pictures of tables loaded with sex toys.
I mean, go to your local Walmart. But Travis, I was gonna get at with the book, and I know you watch Philip DeFranco, so you might remember this. And Alexis, I don't know if you've heard about this or not. Are you familiar with Instagram's new nipple policy?
Yes, a little bit.
That if it is too, like, basically there's a threshold between like respectful nipple and sexual nipple. And that's where Instagram will draw the line. I think YouTube needs like a respectful sex toy and just horny sex toy. Also, Travis, what did you write on the board? Because I can't quite make it out.
Yeah, I just realized that. It says it's educational.
I don't know.
We pretend that is what our podcast is, but we're aware that it isn't. We know it's mostly just dick jokes and superheroes, but that's okay. That's what you guys like, apparently. Moving right along, we got some news about Travis's upcoming TV show.
Yeah. I'll be co-starring with Ethan Hawke.
Yes. Who, fun side note, was this close to playing Doctor Strange. Byline by Jeff the Snyder, current team's champion. Hollywood Reporter
2020.
Yes, Player of the Year 2020. Don't quite agree with it, but still congrats to Jeff. The Hollywood Reporter broke the news. Wait. Here's the lineup here. I can't. I'm trying to remember how to pronounce this word. Oh my god, I'm like having a brain fart. I just forgot how to read.
I'm not going to be able to help you, but I'm going to look.
I literally just forgot how to read, like out of nowhere.
Scintillating?
Yes, I completely I lost all function. Like everything looked like it was written in. What'd you say? What did I just miss? I go over to the Google Chrome channel.
She keeps flashing pictures of the book at me. She just went, "Is this scintillating?"
It makes me so angry because the camera keeps cutting out too, and I can't see your face. But I in my mind's eye, I can see your big ass hair in my mouth. All right, where was I? Oh yes. Fresh off of a scintillating turn in Showtime's historical drama, The Good Lord Bird, Ethan Hawke has signed on to play the main villain of Marvel's Moon Knight, starring Travis Grossman. The Hollywood Reporter broke the news, adding that it's unclear who exactly Hawke will be playing, before noting that Moon Knight's nemesis is considered to be a fellow mercenary named Bushman, who turned on the hero when Egyptian gold came into the picture. Moon Knight made his debut in 1975, and there have been several incarnations of this character since then. We know this, Khonshu, blah, 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 blah. Main note here is that allegedly we have Ethan Hawke, another heavy hitter, another big name coming to the MCU. Like I said earlier, it basically went, whenever Doctor Strange was still in pre-production, Cumberbatch, Cumberbatch couldn't do it. Ethan Hawke couldn't do it. Joaquin Phoenix, they dropped Joaquin. Ethan Hawke dropped out again, and then Cumberbatch all over again, and now we know how that turned out. The biggest issue was that a lot of them didn't want to do like multi-picture deals. And Strange just had too much on his schedule because you got to figure at the time Sherlock was still going. I think this is around the time Star Trek Into Darkness would have been happening as well.
Probably when they were signing paperwork. He had his big stage run as Hamlet.
Holy shit, I forgot. That's probably what it was. Now that you say that, I remember the whole Hamlet thing was an issue.
Yeah, because I forget what movie it might have been Doctor Strange even. That I can't remember if he was in it before Strange or after Strange, but I went to see an MCU movie either right after Doctor Strange came out or right before Doctor Strange came out. That a lot of the advertisements before like the trailers at the theater were like live showings of Benedict Cumberbatch's Hamlet. But it was after it was announced he would be in the MCU.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I did not know that. Thank you for clarifying that. That's almost certainly what it was then. Okay, hold on. I think I figured. Yeah, I figured. Son of a bitch. Travis, you want to read the next story? Pretend you know how to read and read the next story so that I don't lose you on camera again.
Sure. So AMC isn't dead quite yet, and they raised $917 million. That's not nearly enough money, but
enough to dodge the bankruptcy bullet.
Yeah, for now. On Monday morning, the theater chain announced that it had acquired an additional $917 million in new equity and debt capital. According to AMC, this will allow it to keep functioning as it is throughout most of 2021, which is barely at all at this point.
Yeah, I will take a Band-Aid. And if they feel comfortable that they can take the bankruptcy option off the table, at least for now, I will very happily take that. Again, a lot of companies, a lot of chains, just the concept of modern life is not doing too hot at the moment. So AMC not necessarily being on its last leg quite yet, I'll take. Travis, I'm going to make you read one more story because you're more familiar with the subject matter than I am.
Okay. We have more delays news. You missed one in here, but it's mentioned in the Black Widow article, I think.
I thought, okay. I thought I was missing some, but I figured they all got mentioned next to each other as we went. So.
Yeah. So No Time to Die got pushed, I think.
Yes.
To October.
Yeah.
Morbius got pushed out of its October slot to 2021 or 2022 to make room for it. And then Black Widow hasn't been pushed yet, but it's looking like that's what they're going to have to do, which they talk about in the article you listed from Comic Book that could open up the pathway to a Disney Plus release, just to keep their continuity concrete with their shows, right?
I really hope they don't have to do it. I really hope they don't have to do it because
without delaying Falcon and the Winter Soldier again, I don't see a way they can, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if there's any information from that movie that we need for those shows, there's a good chance that they either have to delay everything again or just bite the bullet and put Black Widow on the service. They could do a premium release again, maybe drop the price a little bit. They'll make the money regardless.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree with you, like logistically. I'm just afraid Disney's going to taste blood in the water and start putting all of it on streaming. And they've said before that they're trying to keep like a good split so they can stay in movie theaters.
Feige has said he really does not want that to happen, and that like he wants nothing more than to be back in the theater with everybody, but if it has to happen for now, it has to happen for now.
Yeah.
And I think that because he's there and because the MCU is as big as it is, if he says, hey, now that the pandemic's never going to be quite over the way we think it will, but like I think once we're at that point where things can open, if he says put this in a movie theater, Disney will listen to him. That's my hope. And so having Black Widow go to streaming services for now, just to make because they have everything else done. Like all the TV shows are ready to go and they're slated. So I think biting that bullet to then keep people engaged on your streaming service all year.
Yeah.
I think is their best move for now.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate, but you got to do what you got to do.
And then the other one is Uncharted. Got moved to February, I forget the 11th, 2022 from its 2021. I forget when in 2021. And what we're seeing with all of this is studios trying to move their movies around so they don't coincide with each other.
Yeah. We saw Disney do that to itself with Solo, Infinity War, Incredibles. I was about to say,
you talk about that one all the time, where they release like 3 movies next to each other, and Solo's the one that got crushed. Where releasing any 2 movies next to each other from the same studio, one of them, if not both of them, are going to be decimated at the box office.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it right now. Not to mention, again, like it doesn't look like we're getting a theatrical release of anything anytime soon. So
yeah. Ah, God damn it. So it goes. Moving along here. Oh, sorry. Continue.
We aren't talking at length about it. I'm curious to see how Godzilla vs. Kong is going to do on its dual release.
Me too.
That's not a movie I would have gone to see in theaters. I don't really care that much. I probably will watch it since it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I mean, are we gonna talk kaijus?
Maybe.
Are we gonna talk comics and kaijus?
Not on the same
Stop
show.
it.
Putting the kibosh on that real quick.
Real quick, a story we missed last week. I'm embarrassed that we missed this last week. I think I was so focused on talking about WandaVision and being nervous about our first Nerd Academy episode back in the studio. Tongue-tied. I'm very, very excited to talk about this. So we got some stills for the upcoming Mortal Kombat movie that I am still convinced is going to be amazing. And Travis cannot convince me otherwise.
I won't have to.
Listen, I'm putting all my chips on Mortal Kombat, and I'm not going to be disappointed.
We should make a bet.
Yeah?
About that. We should make some kind of bet about whether or not the movie's good.
I am all ears.
We'll have to find some concrete metric to decide on, because, like, if it's bad but one of us likes it,
Yeah. I mean, again, Mr. BVS apologist over here, so there's always room for that outcome.
We almost watched an episode of Titans last night.
Oh, damn it. Oh God, I gotta start soon. I gotta. Once I get through what we're doing for Heroic History 101, I'm starting Titans.
I'm holding you to that.
I know. I'm gonna be a man of my word on this one. But yeah, we got some great stills. We got these great images. Like it's Sub-Zero here. We have Jax, who hysterically looks like Steve Harvey. We got Kano and Sonya Blade duking it out. We got Liu Kang and Kung Lao that look so good. Like these costumes look amazing. And if I will give the 90s Mortal Kombat movies anything, like any credit whatsoever, They did a good job bringing those outfits to life. For what they looked like at the time, where it's just yellow ninja, blue ninja type stuff, they got that. They got that right. But the more modern look and aesthetic for these characters being brought to life here is incredible. I love the way the fire is glowing on Liu Kang's hands. I love Kung Lao's like razor hat and his armor, or not armor, but like the leather armor. We got another solo shot of Kano. We got a shot of Sub-Zero and Scorpion again towards the end there, which looks like Scorpion's origin story, with his Shia Ryu is wiped out. So, I'm so excited for Mortal Kombat, man. I'm trying to. So
I'm glad one of us is.
After reading Light of the Jedi and working and trying to get finished with Trial of Courage, it put me in a very like Star Wars gamey mood. But I've replayed Fallen Order too many times for to be just the mood to replay Fallen Order. So I've been finally trying to beat Jedi Academy on the Xbox, because they have an Xbox One port for it. And I've been playing through that. So once I get through all the High Republic stuff I need to do and beat Jedi Academy, I am going to be going all the way back into Mortal Kombat 11. I've said I was going to be doing it for months and then get my ass handed to me because I have yet to actually learn how to be good at that game. So I'm going back all in on Mortal Kombat very soon here to get hyped for the movie. Because it's going to be great and I will be right. Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
I have a hypothetical for you.
Sure.
So let's say there's a bunch of books.
Yes.
Now, I know this does not interest you because you do not read.
It's funny you mention that. These are like the only books I've ever actually read.
Yes, and. But so let's say there's a series of books, okay? And it's about a kid who does magic. Then he goes to a school for magic, and he learns that the most powerful magic is friendship and like neoliberalism, okay? Now let's say that same franchise and the same books where it's a bunch of kids and the friendship and the magic of friendship, the friendship of magic. They get made into movies, and the movies make garbanzo beans at the box office. It becomes a super successful franchise. Now let's also say that the writer of this franchise can't help but not shut the fuck up. Like at the worst times. Like just says the worst things all the time. And have been like very, very consistently crescendoing in worseness. Let's say that the studio that also owns this franchise has a streaming service, and they're going to make a TV show, allegedly, for the streaming service that ties into the universe established by the books and movies about the kids and the magic of friendship. How would you feel about that?
I feel like this wasn't the time to do a hypothetical bit. It did not land.
No, it didn't work?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
You don't like any of my bits.
I haven't read anything about it. I've just seen the headline a bunch. I just hope she isn't tied to this at all.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think there's any way for JK to not be attached to any of these projects at all.
I mean, she'll make money from it. She'll make royalties.
Yeah.
One moment.
One of my concerns here, just to keep us going and vamp for a second.
You could.
Okay, I'm very curious as to what the nature of this show is, because I can think of a handful of really cool pitches for a plot, but there's a part of me that's like a little bit nervous this is meant to be a reboot. I don't think it is.
No, it's definitely not.
I'm
It's
not excited for it. I think it's going to be stupid, but that's my opinion.
most likely. Well, because here's the problem. Like, you have the room here to do something like what Fantastic Beasts was supposed to be, where now so many people are invested in this world, you don't need the insert of Harry as a person learning things about the world. You can just have shit go wild. And then you kind of have that in Fantastic Beasts with the Muggle guy. I forget his name. I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
Jacob something.
I think you're right.
Jacob something. We'll go with that.
You can just have these wizards acting in this world and people have a general knowledge of what's happening and they're willing to accept, like, oh, here's this new thing we didn't know about that maybe doesn't change a lot about other events. The problem is if J.K. Rowling is at all connected, beyond the fact that it's J.K. Rowling, she'll try in some way to make this attached to the Harry Potter books, like the 7 books. Because she can't help herself and everything was planned from the beginning and she had this world in mind entirely in its entirety from the beginning.
She's George Lucas, but worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Zack Snyder, but a turf.
Yes.
So, and it's the same thing like with the game coming out next. It's got pushed to 2022.
I didn't see
I think
that.
that'll be okay. That could be okay because it's more about just like you get to play an RPG at Hogwarts, right? You get to be the kid that got their letter, and I think that'll be fine. But I don't know because they almost have to do a prequel. Series.
You have
the
to.
game's gonna be.
Well, and that's the thing that really makes me curious, though, is that, like, again, continuing on to the Star Wars comparison, when you look back at Legends, when the majority of the expanded universe started to take off, with the Thrawn stuff, the impulse was to tell the story after Return of the Jedi and to just keep the narrative going. And then that part of the narrative became hyperpopulated, and then writers went hog wild, going back further and further and further and further and further in the timeline. It's kind of what's going on here, but backwards, where we have one piece of media that takes place after the main narrative of Harry's time at Hogwarts with the cursed child.
Which is proof that she should not be writing anything ever again for Harry Potter because it's atrocious.
Yes.
It is so bad.
And again, then you have Fantastic Beasts, and then we jump to Fantastic Beasts, and then you have prequels. And you keep that going, and you have the video game, also a prequel, and then you have this show, which, like you said, and I agree with you, most likely should be a prequel. And I am unfortunately, while I agree with you that JK normally, if she has any creative authority here, is going to attempt to tie it into the narrative of Harry Potter somehow, or like the mainline, like Sorcerer's Stone up to Deathly Hallows narrative. If I were pitching this, and I know I've said this 1,000 times before, this needs to be about the First Wizarding War. I think that is the only era that would be fascinating and would have enough juice behind it. Is to do like the young Marauders with James, Sirius, Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew, show a young Snape, Lily. I think that era is ripe for content because I think we know the perfect amount of it. I think that would be interesting. You can keep characters that people are familiar with around to market it around. And market it around Snape in his like Nazi youth days, market it around seeing the Marauders actually getting up to trouble and, you know, being the Marauders. And then you, again, still get to let Voldemort be the big bad.
Yeah, I think if they're going to use material we have and connect it to the main story, I think that's their best bet. They would need to go the route like Star Wars does. They have, you know, their canon team at Disney that says, okay, we know where things happen in the timeline. We know what we can do, and what if we do this, it'll conflict. Or if we put this piece of information here, it won't make sense. They need that, like a smaller version of that for this, if they're going to write that show.
I agree.
To make sure nothing gets weird or messed up. And the problem is, if JK's on that team, it will get weird and messed up. If she's not, I think it'll be fine. And if it's not that, I wouldn't mind just seeing just like random like BS stories at Hogwarts. I think that could be really fun.
I think a Hogwarts anthology would be really fun. I agree with you on that. I mean, me personally, like as somebody who really likes Sirius Black and Snape, like they're probably my two favorite characters. I really want to see that. Like I can't remember when I saw it. I want to say maybe 2016. It's a few years old at this point. There's a fan film about the night that Severus Snape is recruited by Voldemort. And it's really good. And that fan film sold me on wanting a First Wizarding World story. Way more than I want Fantastic Beasts. Like, by a huge margin. At this point. And like, just so much more than any type of young Dumbledore, young Grindelwald bullshit. But that's just me. So. Travis, before we get into WandaVision talk, as our resident CW expert, the floor is yours, my friend.
Who's dwindling knowledge because I'm very behind. But I know Batwoman started back up. I think Black Lightning has started its final season. I think that started last week. I haven't watched either of those. I'm not caught up at all. I don't really have any motivation to get caught up at all. I might finish season 1 just because it's on HBO Max and it's easily accessible. Of Batwoman, I should say.
Yeah.
The two big like news things to talk about are that Superman and Lois will have a 2-hour premiere.
His suit looks so good. I keep seeing set photos and it looks so good. Like, a suit that looks that good in a set photo is going to look offensively amazing on camera.
So the pilot will be, I don't know if it'll be like the pilot episode's 2 hours or if they're just going to air the first, like the 2 episodes are connected and they'll just air them back to back basically. But 2-hour premiere for Superman and Lois, and CW has dropped Green Arrow and the Canaries. They aren't actually doing that show anymore.
Yes, that was another piece of news I forgot to add last week. Thank you for bringing that up. That's unfortunate. I know that was something you were kind of like tacitly interested in, if memory serves.
A little bit, just because I wanted to see what they could do with these characters that most people just didn't like or care for, not because of the actors or anything, but the writing team didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And so I think the reason they dropped it, A, was probably lack of public interest, but also having a show run concurrent with your universe that isn't running concurrently in time because it's set in the future.
Yeah.
Still. The crossover gets really weird. You have to have time travel shenanigans. It doesn't quite work. And it's just easier for the crossover if it's, you know, Flash, Black Lightning, Superman, and Supergirl, and Batwoman, and they're all running at the same time, and there's no problems.
I agree.
So
I agree with you on that front. Yeah, with that, I don't know if Lexi's going to try to come back over for WandaVision talk or not, but obviously she's welcome to.
Probably.
Well, time for WandaVision talk. So, Travis, thoughts on this week's
Yeah.
episode before we get into the nitty gritty here.
I liked it. I like that it's in color now. I like colors. And
Living color.
He's a simple man.
I'm a simple boy. I like simple things. I was just the show is really good. It's good at what it wants to do. It's like, the fun throwback to old television with the mystery aspect. It's doing really well. Yeah, that's about all I got. It's just really good.
I have been eating so much crow every time I watch it because I felt I was that jackass who was like, "Oh yeah, WandaVision."
Really?
Yeah, once we got confirmation of like, oh, Elizabeth Olsen's going to be in Doctor Strange, and like there came a point with like a slower information drop that I realized this was going to be important.
This was out of the shows they announced back in the day. I think this was not the bottom of my list of shows I cared about, but it was like definitely not at the top. And I think that part of it too is that this is the first bit of MCU we've gotten in a year. Over a year.
Yeah. The last MCU release was Far From Home.
I just really like it. I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and it's my favorite, and I really like Wanda and Vision now more because of the show.
Because they finally have like time. They had 3 whole scenes.
That's what I was gonna say, and I think I told you or Jared, I don't remember, but like I feel like I didn't know them.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't on screen a whole lot, and now I'm experiencing how they are, and I just really like them, and I like the vibe of the whole show. I like the aesthetics.
You like the vision it gives off?
I like the vision. Ha 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 ha.
I'm so funny.
No. I'm kidding. I liked how retro it looked. I really liked that. And it was funny. It was really like corny this episode, which it was a perfect amount of corny. It wasn't like too much. So I liked it.
I was really entertained by them leaning into the whole like, oop, 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 gotta cover the baby bump. Like, I was so glad they leaned into that shit as hard as they did, because this show also has the added benefit of being a parody of 50s, 60s, 70s sitcoms right now in 2021, where they can have bits where they have the doctor go, and to make it easy on the lady folk, we talk about it in terms of a fruit. And it's inherently funny because he's the dipshit. Like, you don't cringe. It's like you don't cringe at it the way you'd like watch one of those older sitcoms where somebody says something really weird like that. But the joke is that he's being serious and is implied to be right. Mm-hmm. Where here it's funny because it's like, oh, look at this feeble idiot who doesn't realize he's talking to a woman who with like a little blah, with her fingers could like put his outside on the inside.
And that's a bit.
And that's a bit. Okay, so I'll give my thoughts on the episode and then we can talk like plot of this episode and go from there. Really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the way that it seems like the simulation in however is being controlled seems like it's starting to break.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had amazing performances. It took me watching it a second time to notice like the 2 really important characters who got introduced here in this episode, that like the names went right over my head until rewatching it. Like you said, like they're so good at like recreating the aesthetics. Like Lexi, you were saying that. And I agree with you completely. Like down to like the stone walls behind them. It's just, it just feels so of the era and feels so correct. The way it's framed. I love the way that they're characterizing Wanda and Vision as a couple. I love that even though they've like dedicated so much of the show to Wanda and Vision being so dedicated to keeping their cover and not revealing the fact that he's an android and she's a superhuman in some way. I don't want to say mutant yet, but they spend so much time dancing around that the second Wanda's water breaks, Vision does not think twice about using his superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes into gotta help her mode, and he's phasing through shit. He's using super speed to bring the doctor back. I loved that. I think it was like a really tiny thing, but I think it was really cute. I love the slapstick bit with the stork. Like it's so silly. But yeah, I also kudos to the woman playing Geraldine, who is just killing this dual role of I'm just as hapless as everybody else in this simulation, and I can tell exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't feel jarring, but there's definitely a switch that she flips.
Geraldine's the sword agent, right?
Yes, that's Quasar.
Yeah. So I don't know that it's necessarily she knows what's going on. I think she's like, that's her break. Like, so what I can't figure out is if Sword has the simulation set up and everyone inside is brainwashed by Wanda, or if Sword sends somebody into the simulation to get Wanda out and then got brainwashed in the process, either by Wanda or by somebody else.
I think Wanda, I don't know. That's my biggest thing is I can't figure out if Wanda is doing this or if somebody has Wanda doing this and she's acting of her own volition inside of something that was created by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still attached to the whole this is Mephisto and Agatha thing. Especially because or what were you saying, Travis? I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just said I agree with you.
Oh, well, thank you. I also, this is something I noticed online. I think, New Rockstars and Comics Explained, I saw point out that the date that Agnes gives as their wedding anniversary is like, unless you can name a beer, blah, 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 blah. That was the start date for the Salem witch trials.
Huh.
That cannot be accidental. Especially if they're going to lean into the whole idea that Wanda, like, on top of having superpowers, is using magic. And that, like, there's like that she does like a weird hybrid of like actual magic, like Strange, and superpowers. And if that's what they're trying to do, I think that would make perfect sense that the wedding anniversary be the start of Salem, which I think is interesting. Also, Herb, the neighbor who's like cutting through the stone. I also saw online somebody Googled the full name he's given. That's the name of the High Evolutionary. Which, for those of you at home who are not familiar with like really weird deep cut characters, basically Marvel God.
I can see that.
So I don't know if that's an Easter egg or what that's supposed to be, but he shares the name with the High Evolutionary. But getting into plot stuff, what do you guys think Agnes and Herb's scene with Vision was? Like, what do you think? Like, well, because we're all ... What do you think is going on there?
Well, I asked Travis this last night if they were trying to stall because of what was it?
So I
don't remember what I said.
Basically, she was trying to stall Vision because she knew Wanda would eject Geraldine from the simulation, and that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And if Vision had interfered, they might have snapped, or she might have snapped out of it and like realized what was happening. But she's in deep enough right now that like that interaction alone allowed her to kick Geraldine out.
Okay.
I also still can't figure out if Vision is real or not.
I'm really starting to think he's real.
I think maybe somehow his consciousness, sorry, is somehow he's like reaching her or something weird like that.
Which could make sense. Her powers come from the Mind Stone. So them being connected in some weird like
telepathic way.
Yeah. Or
Basically a
like
Mind Stone dyad.
Yeah, or like when she broke the Mind Stone, his consciousness saved into her subconscious.
Ooh,
or something.
That's good. That's so good. Oh, that's a great idea. That would be so cool narratively.
Yeah, maybe like after Endgame, if they tranked her or something and just uploaded it into a new body. It's not like they couldn't just make another one. So
I have another question though.
Yes.
And I think I asked you this last night, Travis. Did she actually have the babies, or is this still in her mind, or what?
I don't know. What I do know is that those two babies, and like I said, I had to rewatch it to notice the names and go, wait a minute.
Billy and Tommy.
I need to Google this and make sure I was right. That's Wiccan and Speed. Two of the other core members of the Young Avengers. Whom in the comics, and there's a whole lot of comic book bullshit that goes into this, but long story short, Tommy and Billy are the kids who are born because of Mephisto, who have a piece of Mephisto inside of them. So I'm inclined to say between Kate Bishop Hawkeye, Cassie Lang Ant-Woman, Wasp, whatever mantle she takes, we are getting the Young Avengers, and I think that Billy and Tommy are actually going to grow up to become Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
I'm fairly certain that the babies were real.
Yeah,
from that scene.
And it's that whole scene's phenomenal. Like,
this might be thinking too hard about it, but whenever Wanda started questioning Geraldine about like what was that name? What did you say? You know, and they were talking about Pietro. I know the babies were crying like in the scene, but it just kind of seemed like they were also kind of crying in the background too. So like you know what I mean? Like
they're also mourning Quicksilver in that scene. Like, because like, is that what you're getting at, or no?
Not what I mean.
They're not,
just like
they're not literally in the room.
Yeah.
Oh.
That like.
Yeah. It seemed like they were, whenever they broke like character, it just seemed like the crying. I might be way looking too hard for something here, but it just seemed like
that's really clever.
The crying was more intense as they were becoming more tense.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually
seemed like it was also on the outside real world too happening.
That is actually really, really, really clever of an idea. That never would have crossed my mind. Now I want to go back and rewatch it and see if there is a difference in like the sound design with the crying. That's really cool. I like that.
So that's why I was saying, well, along with Travis, is they probably were actually born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I might be overlooking or overthinking or whatever.
I mean, something this strange, I don't think you can overthink. Like, this is the same show that randomly just projected Strucker's castle onto a wall. You know?
Yeah. Also, the weird, like, blip back a few frames or whatever halfway through the episode, that freaked me out.
I tried, when I watched it the first time, I tried pausing to see if there was, like, any frames
in between.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything.
I did not like that at all.
That's whenever Vision is like, I think something's wrong.
I think something's wrong, and then it cuts back immediately to halfway through that line. Gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it was gross.
It freaked me out too. And Alexis, again, I was like, if there's a frame, if there's like a like quarter of a millisecond frame here, the internet will find it for me. I applaud you for trying to like use Disney Plus's playback, as unruly as it can be on like a console, to do that. So no, but I agree, and I was also unnerved by that. But that's one of the reasons why I think Vision's there. That's one of the reasons why I think Vision is real. And either like you guys are hypothesizing, he and Wanda are sharing a consciousness,
and he's trying to let her know.
Yeah,
something's wrong.
And like, since they're kind of sharing a room, as it were, like he's just as susceptible to believing the lie as she is, but is more capable of waking up.
I think that Wanda has a part in the brainwashing, where like her psychic powers are so strong that, whether Vision's real or in her head, that vision of Vision is believing everything she's believing because she's overwhelming him. Same with Geraldine. And I can't tell if that's what's happening or if it's another force doing that and they're slowly breaking out of it. And anytime Wanda starts to, she goes, no, I don't want to. I like this, and slips back into it.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that. I also am finding it very interesting that it seems like it doesn't seem like there clearly is a physical Westview. Like the place exists and there's a force field around it that Quasar gets yeeted through. And I'm curious of like on the other side of that, if there's just like a psychic maelstrom or if everything is literally happening. Like it was in black and white a week ago. And then they poke their heads inside and then, oh, hey, look, it's in Technicolor now. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Travis went to pee, but yes.
Okay, cool.
He really needed to pee. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. See, sometimes you got to go. This is me and Lexi on this show now.
Yep.
Her disembodied voice, but she's there. There's a hand. So, is it Ubi? Are we doing Ubi now?
Call that.
Again, audio listeners, there's hella technical difficulties, but you're missing out with the YouTube version.
Definitely.
I was clearly wrong about my Ultron theory with the ads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset that I was. But I will give myself half credit because he was mentioned by name with the Pietro conversation. And that he is still important to what's going on here and with her trying to unpack what's going on mentally. That said, you and I had a conversation like off the record about that scene and how you and I both picked up on and loved that her Sokovian accent woke back up every time she said Pietro's name. You do it so much better than I could. But I really like that that's happening. And I think again, like for me, Age of Ultron recognition makes me happy in general. I've been meaning to sit down and rewatch it now just because it's on the mind. But it's the main reason why like Geraldine being in there is so intriguing for me. Is that I feel like I think Geraldine knows as much as anybody within S.W.O.R.D. knows what's going on. Because clearly there's a
does
scene.
she?
I think she does. How was your pee?
Long.
Ew.
Jesus. Okay, literally thought that was a can crack for a second.
Nah.
For a hot second.
Excuse me now.
But I think because we, like you said, we get the bit from the cop from Ant-Man and the Wasp with like the Wanda, what's going on? Wanda was doing this to you, blah 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 blah. Plus Geraldine's being there, I feel like she knows precisely what's going on to the extent that Sword has figured out what they know what's going on, but still have questions and are trying to either save Wanda's physical being from this thing that is inside Westview. Like, that's the other thing. What the fuck is Westview? Like, is it like it's clearly a physical town. So like, is everything going on inside of the force field?
It gave me such a like when they showed the sign, and this is more of a joke than anything, but it gave me such a Stranger Things like Riverdale vibe, like the way that it looked.
Oh god.
I thought Nuketown.
Nuketown.
I thought Nuketown.
That's funny.
Now I wish that the last like episode like show motif they rip off would be like edgy, sexy teen drama show. Like, and now I really wish that was the case. Where Vision's wearing a beanie that has like
their 2000s rip is a CW show.
yeah,
Oh,
that's and I just
It
want
just
it to be.
starts. It starts in Wanda's doing a salmon ladder for no reason.
I want
What?
The pull-ups where you go up a rung
Oh my god.
from Arrow.
Stop.
no. I just need Vision. I need Paul Bettany, full Vision, full tilt, like zero irony. Earnestly reading Jug headlines from Riverdale.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Like I need to
But
hear
yeah.
his accent call himself weird. Anyway. So back to the actual conversation. God, I can't stop thinking of WandaVision Riverdale. I want to know if like everything inside of the force field is actually happening as we're seeing it. Or if just in the middle of the force field in one of the houses is Scarlet Witch, catatonic, hooked up to a computer.
I see what you mean.
Like that's my biggest thing is I don't know. Like is she just laying in the street? Is she hooked up to something?
she's
Like
in the sewers with that bee man.
she's with the bee man. Oh my god.
She and bees.
Or she's just in a basement.
That's what I want to know. I want to know how much of this is physically happening. Was there some type of psychic link that tossed Geraldine out, or did some type of program or something more mystical throw her out through that force field?
Eventually. But I just keep getting frustrated because as much as I'm loving this show, I hate that I don't know what's going on. And I really want to know what's going on. But it's really cool not knowing what's going on. And I like the mystery, but it frustrates me. And I'm in an endless loop of frustration and glee.
Stories like this, that's what keeps me coming back, is that I just get so angry because I just want to figure it out. And just go, okay, this is it. This right here. And get to the bottom of the mystery. That said, this week's on Friday is going to be like an 80s sitcom.
I'm excited.
I know that like they keep continuing the continuity. Great, Jared. I know that they are keeping the continuity of like the events of the last episode happened, but now we're going to jump ahead 10 years and not acknowledge it aesthetically. part of me wishes that wasn't the case, just because I want like Vision to do Urkel for the 80s. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I would be entertained by that quite a bit.
What other 80s sitcoms were there?
Time to hit up the Google.
I can't remember. I have like one I'm thinking of, but I can't think of what it's called.
So many of the good 80s ones like also ran into the 90s. So I don't know what you can like safely refer to as 80s because it started in the 80s or like hit its stride in the 90s.
So like what about, is Alf one of them?
No, but it's in my top picks for me thing from Google, so thanks Google.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Full House. It's probably going to be Full House.
Oh, Full House, probably, yeah.
I was going to say I couldn't remember if Full House started in the 80s or not, but yeah, absolutely. It's got to be Full House. It's got to be Full
pretty
House.
Much the Golden Girls. Can I get some Golden Girls?
They might do that.
Cheers.
Cheers to. Okay, so Full House, Golden Girls, Cheers.
Married with Children, but it won't be Married with Children.
I was gonna say Married with Children earlier, but I was like, no.
Well, I was gonna say Seinfeld, but that also goes into the 90s, doesn't it? Early 90s. Doesn't it?
Seinfeld started in the mid to late 90s.
It started in 89.
Yeah, okay, you were right, yeah. Because I know it has like a 10-season run and ends like right around 2000.
Yeah.
MASH. I want to see MASH just with Vision in it and no other changes.
So Full House, it's okay. So it's definitely going to be a Full House knockoff. I cannot wait for the intro. I cannot wait for the.
I love the intros. The intro for this last one was so cute, and I loved it so much. And I love how she looks. I love that hair. I love the style. Ugh, it's just really cute.
I can't get over everybody just doing TikTok dances to the intro music.
Oh,
like I saw this one.
That's a very niche part of TikTok because I have not seen any of that.
I saw this one guy just like practically Fortnite dancing to WandaVision, WandaVision, like to the
that's because you look at very niche things on TikTok, and that's why
I do. I find
your page is filled with that because I had no idea that was a thing.
I was very entertained by it.
Something else I was gonna ask you guys what you thought. Oh, what was it? It'll come back to me, maybe.
With the Full House, because it's got to be Full House. I cannot wait to see what they try to pull as like an Olsen joke. Because you got to remember that's her older sisters.
Yeah, but she doesn't. She said before that she doesn't like to be attached to their names because she wants to have her own thing. But maybe they'll do something small.
I mean, at this point, I feel like they're attached to her name. Like she's the one in $1 billion franchise these days.
Not.
Oh, but I hope they do. I really hope they go for just one joke, an easy one. Call it a day. Don't linger on it too long. But they're just let Wanda say, "You got it, dude," and let that be it.
That or her kids because they're twins.
Exactly. Great. Oh yeah, that's right. Because they keep doing the whole thing where like her pregnancy went by super fast. They might do like a Renesmee with the kids. And like in the next episode, they're like grown the hell up.
There'll be at least 10? 11?
I would say somewhere between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting if they do that. And if they show them having powers, like if they show Billy doing magic stuff and Tommy being a speedster.
Like running around the house doing like causing some mayhem.
Oh my God. I hope we got that right. Okay, and I'm going to say it again. Ultron in the ad. I'm sticking my flag in it. Ultron is going to be in one of these ads. I'm gonna die on that
what
hill.
was I gonna ask you? It's gonna bother me so bad now. I don't know what it was. It had something to do with whether or not it was like in her mind or not, like in real life. I'm so frustrated.
I honestly, I don't even know. I have so many questions like that. I don't even think I'd be a help to you. Quite frankly.
It had something to do with Westview, but
I don't know.
whatever.
I'm so excited for the
Watch,
next episode.
I'll remember after the show, and it won't matter.
Tweet it. Put it on the Bird app. And we can have a conversation about WandaVision. But with that, speaking of the Bird app, I think that's all we got this week for you guys. Any last predictions, things to say about this week's episode before we wrap up?
I don't
I think we
so.
just gave it.
Yeah.
I think
All
we
right.
just gave it.
Sounds good. The disembodied voice of Alexis, where can people find you on the social medias asking your WandaVision questions?
Lexi Lion 98 on Twitter and Acapella 98 on Instagram.
Okay, now do it again with Ubi.
Did you ever watch Ubi?
I don't think so, no.
No, you didn't watch Ubi with the hands?
I don't think so.
Ubi.
The most
They had,
low
like,
budget
little
TV show.
eyeballs. Oh my god. Lexi Lion 98 on Twitter and Acapella 98 on Instagram.
Just
Travis, the whole show was just hands talking. Like, I want to know
really.
so badly what their like budget
I
V
really did.
returns was.
can you throw me Platt wherever he may be?
Oh yeah. Platimus Rex,
Platypus Rex.
aka
Long
Purple
and handsome.
and Handsome.
How often did
yes.
you guys? How many times have you rehearsed Platymus Rex, Platymus Lex, long, purple, and handsome? The back and forth on that was
Usually try to say it in unison, but
it's kind of amazing when you trade off. So that was funny. Travis, where can you and Platymus be found?
On Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. Good.
Yes,
Where? Fuck.
we
We
should
made
make
it so long.
Platymus like a Twitter account, but like everything that he tweets is just like leftist theory. Like he's like it's Platymus, but he's just tweeting Karl Marx quotes.
Carl Platt.
Karl Platt. Platt Marx. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, Case and Brie.
you didn't hear the fire whistle, did you?
There was a fire whistle, or are you referring to like...
It started. Someone like kicked it up for a second and then turned it off and went. I would have muted myself if it actually started going.
That's hilarious. I'm upset I couldn't hear it like do a little death rattle.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Shout out to our $10 alumnus, Case and Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Knaus. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. On the $10 level, you guys get early access to both Nerd Academy Movie Club and the Campus Life podcast. I almost forgot the name of the show. Ooh, dance party going on Travis's side of the camera. So much indigestion. I drank too much coffee. And be sure to check out the $5 tier of our Patreon, where you get access to the audio commentary tie-ins for Nerd Academy Movie Club, Heroic History 101, which I promise will have an episode by the end of the week, and the Knights of the Nerd Republic versus series. On February 1st, we have Barriss Ophi versus Rey Skywalker coming out. And then we have January's out already. Darth Krayt versus Darth Revan. Season 2 is off to a great start. We have lots of really fun matchups planned for you guys. And the tournament is going to be one hell of a ride come the end of the year. So stay tuned for all of that. Be sure to check out the other shows in the network. Obviously, our flagship show right here, the Nerd Academy podcast, where we do all things nerd related, except for Star Wars. Star Wars has its own show, Knights of the Nerd Republic. This week, we didn't have an episode because we had technical difficulties. And Travis, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but we did another Trivial Pursuit episode, and I won for the first time in several years.
Pick up.
God knew. He knew he couldn't let it happen.
So there was no actual proof.
Whatever divine force is out there, maybe it's Platt. You don't know.
It's Platt related.
Wait.
Said nope. Jarod cannot win on camera.
You know who was here the first time I won a Trivial Pursuit match and ruined the episode?
Oh, is Cookie Cop there?
This Eldritch Abomination was here for it. Saturday was his first episode in the studio because I finally remembered to bring him over.
It was probably Cookie Cop.
It was
And he
definitely Cookie Cop.
I'm trying to show it to my webcam like that's where you guys are seeing things. And he doesn't have his ducks. I think the ducks make him a good spirit.
We'll just put Platt inside.
Just
Platt's just wearing Cookie Cop like a mech. Let's try not to knock over the lava lamp or my gauntlet. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, check out Knights of the Nerd Republic, which will have an episode this week. Hopefully, our Mandalorian Season 2 review. Fingers crossed, that's actually what happens. Be sure to check out the Nerd Academy Movie Club, which releases every other Thursday, where Devin and I do reviews of different movies with a theme every month. Check out Campus Life, the show where we just shoot the breeze and riff a little, which is always a lot of fun. Travis works at Walmart. I'm a bartender. There's always something fun to talk about. Oh, goddamn, Platt's so goddamn adorable. Be sure to check out our new Movie Trivia Schmodown After Show, the #1 contender podcast that goes up on Saturdays. Travis and I have been having a gas recording that one. At this point, I'm gonna one of y'all knock on wood this time. I don't want to stand up because I think that's been the only show we haven't had any issues with so far, and that's been a fun one to record. This week is the Movie Trivia Schmodown Season 8 draft. Very excited for it. Very excited to see how it shakes out. Travis and I ordered our new official Movie Trivia Schmodown merch. So we will be on camera repping our favorite factions very, very soon. Is that all the shows? Did I say them all?
yes.
Cool. There's a lot now, and I hope you guys are enjoying all of them. With that, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys around the way, all over the network. Tune into everything. Be sure to go to the student store on our website, look at our TeePublic, get coffee mugs and shirts and stickers.
We should make Platt merch.
I was just about to say that.
Oh my god, I want to make Platt merch. Okay, I'll be on that at some point.
Please make Platt merch. Just have him in like a cute little, like waving like a little Nerd Academy banner. We'll figure it. Oh my god, I love him so much. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. And class dismissed.